Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to please ask all the panelists to please turn on their videos and also please kindly turn on your mics. Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? And can everyone see me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, hi.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so very much for joining us today for this conversation. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to please ask all the panelists to please turn. Hello?
What was that?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, great. All right. So welcome everybody to this conversation brought to you by Sparkle. My name is Lehle Balde. I'm a media practitioner and I'm also a sparkler. Welcome to you all. Welcome to our audience. Welcome to our panelists. So let me just get straight into it. So as you know, life has become a lot more sedentary as the economy needs to get back to work, which has caused some to return back to business as usual, while others essentially never stopped working. As most people are having to spend most of their time indoors in this new normal, people are having to change their lifestyle and spend a lot more time on their devices and eat essentially what they need to eat on their and get their orders from their phones. Excuse me. So please allow me to introduce my guests. My panelists today are Chef Fregs, who is a celebrity chef and entrepreneur. So Chef Fregs, please wave to the audience. He's also a fellow sparkler.
Hi, everyone.
My another guest today is Omon Anenih Mordi, who is the CEO of Blue Mahogany, which is an interior design firm based in Lagos. They also have an office in the UK. So welcome to you, Omon. Welcome.
Thanks. Hi.
And our other panelist today is Zubby Emodi, who is the CEO of Monospace. He's also the former director of Ringgit Digital Marketing Africa. And he's also worked with Folio Nigeria, which was a digital publishing firm by CNN. So welcome to you all. I'd like to start by asking you how you're doing in this global pandemic. So just in 1 minute, Chef Regs, I'll start with you. How has the COVID-19 pandemic been for you?
Honestly, it's been mixed because it's been both a blessing and a curse in the sense where obviously the economic, freeze has affected everyone. But it's been a really good time for me because it's like Gary Vee said, I think 2020 is the year everybody woke up. It did a lot for me to really ask myself important questions, really do a lot of pruning, personally, business-wise. And I tell people that I don't want to sound insensitive to say, but COVID and the lockdown and the whole relaxed by force relax really made me think and really evaluate a lot of things. So I evaluated what we're talking about, my health. I went to the pharmacy and I saw some numbers. I was like, oh, well, I have to do something about it. So actually, since the lockdown, for example, I've worked really hard on fitness and eating better, for example. And I have lost, 6 kg at least. And it wasn't so much the weight that I lost. It was more like more like the experience of overcoming myself and overcoming. I just never thought I'd be that guy that would like to work out. Even my wife last night was like, oh, baby, you've lost your rhythm. I'm like, oh, don't tell me I've lost my rhythm. I don't want to get into that mental space where I feel like I'm failing at something. So this period has also made me really see the real potential in business too. My sister brand, Fregs was something I didn't really know what to do with it because I'm better at, the fine dining aspect of it. And I'm really learning. Many creatives sometimes struggle with business structure. And so it was a tough juggle. But Fregs shone. It really, really shone during the lockdown. I saw its potentials. I worked really hard to be creative, to set up structure, to really allow it engineer stuff. And it works without me now. Literally, my people tell me in fact, they tell me things like, Chef, stop sending your friends to us. We're closed for the day, we're done. So it's been a bittersweet moment, but I'm really grateful for what it exposed, so to speak, that I wasn't paying attention to. I wasn't really fighting for when we're all comfortable and life was as normal as we knew it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so well, it seems like you've tried your best to adapt. You've been exercising, and your business seems to be as you said, running without you. So that's good to hear. So Omon, I'd like to hear from you, in a short 1 minute or 2 minutes. Just tell us how the COVID-19 has affected you and kind of how you're dealing with it.
Well, similar to Chef Rex, it's been a bit of a mixed bag for me as well. I think that the very first couple of weeks were amazing because it was like a guilt-free holiday. You don't need to go anywhere, just stay home and chill, which is something that was really up my street, right? And then it got to a point where you're listening to all this sort of negative news and information, and I was soaking up so much negativity that I felt it physically. I felt I couldn't sleep. I had anxiety. I was really stressed out. So for me, something that I've learned, or reinforced rather, during this period is just responsibility. So we're having conversations right now about social media and impact on healthy living, etc. And that was one thing that I sort of held on to, that I'm responsible for the way I feel. I'm responsible for the way I react to what's going on around me. So as soon as I was able to sort of take control of my environment and be a bit more deliberate and mindful about what I'm exposing myself to, and the way I receive and process that information, it was then a lot more positive in terms of the experience and the outcome comes from this experience. For business, it's been amazing because one of the things as interior designers that we've been talking about is the effects of your physical space on your health, on your well-being, on your mental health and your physical health. But I guess because as Shafrex mentioned earlier, this is the time when people woke up, right? So there's so many issues out there that we were all too busy to take notice of, or to really stop for a moment and think about what our lifestyles are doing to us. But COVID did that for us. COVID stopped us when we, in a way that we had no choice, and we just had to listen and be more aware of our physical space. So even during lockdown, I had people calling and saying, please, can you come and sort my home out? It's a mess. I need things to look better, to work better for me. So in a way, without being opportunistic, it has sent out a message that we've been trying to send for years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. And I can definitely relate to wanting, your space, to look a certain way, because we end up having to stay at home, most of the time. So I'm glad to hear that you're doing okay. So
I really hate to interrupt, sorry, but I was one of those people I've been doing it at my own house too. So yeah.
Yeah.
So Zubby, over to you. Quickly, tell us how you've been dealing with the pandemic. How are you doing?
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So just like the panelists mentioned, yeah, thanks. So just like Chef Fregs and Omon mentioned, so it's kind of been like a mixed bag, at least personally. Business-wise, it's also been a bit mixed. So from the mental health side of things, I think that's probably where we've all, I think, collectively been impacted the most.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, especially as like the panelists mentioned, it gave everybody time to actually think and reflect about what was going on. And to be perfectly honest, not everything that was going on was great. So these are things that were I guess at the top of mind, especially on social media, where for us we spend majority of our time, especially over at Monospace, because we're a purely digital company. So for us, that's so from that perspective, that and our clients, you could see it was affecting as well from the corporate side of things. When we're working with brands, there's people kind of had to stop posting. So where we had maybe content calendars we were running for clients that we were doing maybe consistently, or maybe on a weekly basis and on a daily basis, there was a very good reason to stop and basically reassess what it was that we're doing for, I guess, the collective good. So in that respect, it's not necessarily all been bad, So then we've actually had time to actually address specific things that needed to be addressed in order to collectively move people forward. From the business perspective, it's also been a mixed bag because also being a digital company, a lot of clients that were going into this didn't have a digital presence, right? So they were affected immediately. And we saw this change literally overnight. So coincidentally, we happened to also be starting up the company at around that same time. So we went from basically a phase where we're brand building and building our strategy to immediately working with a lot of clients, right? So I think what that showed us as well was the fact that digital was here to stay. And this situation kind of accelerated things and kind of made people realize, okay, these are the important things. These are the sustainable measures that we should be taking personally and in our businesses to ensure longevity, whether it's of us personally or of our staff or the people that we're taking care of, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so from that perspective, yeah, it's been quite a mixed bag, you know, but not to be an opportunist, I'd say it wasn't all good and there's a lot of stuff that we could all learn and take forward, especially from this conversation.
Okay. Well, thank you, Zubby, and to all the panelists for sharing that. I mean, I think for me, just to quickly say as well, I think for me as well, it was a mixed experience. I think the beginning was kind of, I think we didn't all know what this pandemic was. I think a lot of us were scared in terms of like, okay, how can I actually contact this? But most of us, I think, had to get back to work and just kind of like take care of our mental health as well as our physical health, which is actually what we're here to talk about. Essentially, like, how do we live a healthy lifestyle in a digital world, given the pandemic? How can we live healthier lives in this digital world? So I'd like to start with you, Chef Fregs. As a chef, cooking and the culinary world is your forte. Love, I mean, food is your love and your passion. And we actually need food to, stay nutritious and also just stay healthy. So talk to us a little bit about how people can stay healthy in a digital world from your perspective.
So actually, staying healthy in a digital world, when I was thinking about it, it's actually really easy. But like anything that you want to achieve, you just have to be committed and be consistent. So actually, we have so much information at our fingertips now. I don't think that we really have any excuse not to understand how, what is beneficial and what is good for you. I don't think anybody has the excuse to be ignorant anymore. I would say that, like Zubby said, that we spend a lot of time on social media. I think it's high time that we start searching out accounts and content makers that are educating about how we are eating. So for example, me personally, I don't know if this is a platform to say, but there are some things I don't cook with anymore. I'm thinking about my blood pressure. I'm thinking about, what the lasting effects, this thing has on my body. Right now, I cook with a bit more palm oil because, palm oil is better for you, for example, because I know the research, we'll bash palm oil today, we'll bash palm oil tomorrow, but everything is still, but with palm oil, you can't overdo it anyway. What else is there? People tend to want to bash, there's this big debate about going vegan or not going vegan. But one thing about food is for sure, whatever you're going to eat a lot of is going to destroy you or make you, either one of it, So it's just understanding, following accounts, like I said, content creators that are giving fantastic information. So for example, someone like me, even if food is my passion, sometimes some of us don't have a very good relationship with food. So some of us are either eating too much or not eating at all. And because we're in this fast-paced, check my Twitter, check my Instagram, hop on a Zoom call, go for this new webinar, send this email real quick, we find that we're not planning what we are eating. So we realize that we're hungry and we go for the first thing that we see. Right. So I think it's high time that beyond, we should start planning our meals better at home. Indulgence cannot be every day. Do you understand? We need to just be committed to a plan. So for me, what I did was, and one thing is I'm not preaching a diet, I'm preaching how we can change our lifestyle in this digital world. So you need to start planning on how you're going to eat that will make sure your blood sugar is on check, your blood pressure isn't going up, your BMI is, if it needs to come down, it's come down, if it needs to go up, it's going up. How you're going to incorporate exercise with your busy schedule. And by exercise, you don't need to start lifting weights or running, 20 kilometers like my friend Datare Gbubemi or what's his name, or Toby Bakri, for example. You just need to maybe walk every day. So part of my exercise routine, for example, is it's a combination of meditation and me time in the morning. I take my dog for a walk in the mornings. Well, most mornings we go for a walk, and I don't even try to brisk walk or anything. I just make sure that we walk for 2 miles and we come back home. Then I get into my heavier workout. I think it's just a way. And again, digital wise, you don't need like a gym. There's body projects on YouTube that I use. There's Strong Nation by Zumba that I use. Apparently, there's this lady called Chloe Tin who will wreck your life if you allow her. She's on there as well. There's so many people that like. There's this Tabata thing that I use. These Korean guys I found out. There's so much in the digital space that can add to you living a healthier life. And I know, yes, I meant to really talk about food. Sorry, one more thing about food is I think we also need to take advantage of people that can provide good food for you, fresh, fast. You know, there are so many vendors from like Reds and Greens, Mount 12, Market Woman, people who are making your life easier and are giving you access to good. Because sometimes we think we don't have access to affordable food even, or fresh or good produce. And there's so many people who are on the internet, who are in that social media, digital space, that are going to serve you like that. And you're saving money and you are actually eating, you know, better. So I think all of us just need to be committed to a plan, because many of us you just realize that I have not eaten. I'll get on that plan tomorrow. No, I think we just all need to be really committed that in our fast-paced, like, because these computers and social media and things are meant to make our lives better. Let's commit to making the body that's going to use all of these things better. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I definitely agree with you. I mean, I also think that the food and culinary industry has definitely accelerated in a way, because people are realizing that, you know, there are companies that are there to make your life easier. Yes. I know of a company called Eden Life. Essentially, it's for professionals, and they bring food to your house, they clean your house, they make it easier for you to kind of run a very busy schedule. And also the other people that you mentioned that actually have planned meal plans for people, as well as people discovering their culinary, skills during this pandemic. I know of a lot of people who have actually started culinary, or I guess delivery service food businesses out of just
culinary existing businesses were like, what? Deliver. That's what happened.
Yes.
That's what
right. So, yeah, essentially, yes. So delivery services for food, just to simplify that. So thanks. Okay, so thank you for that, Chef Fregs. Omon, I'd like to go over to you because, as we alluded to in the beginning, peace of mind or health can come in different ways. And one of those ways is through design and space, right? So it's kind of a chain effect of things that can enhance your health during, through digital platforms, as well as during the pandemic. So I wonder what you have to say about that. How can we maintain a healthy lifestyle from your perspective in this digital world?
So for me, I see design as basically just making deliberate choices, right? It's about, so when we talk about designing spaces or designing lifestyles, it's about seeing a vision, right? So if you're seeing an ideal situation that you would like to create, and then making deliberate choices to achieve that ultimate goal, right? So technology, social media, digital platforms, for me, they're all tools. They're all tools that could be used for good or evil, as with a lot of things. It's down to us to choose how we apply those tools and how we use them. During the lockdown, there were days when social media was literally it was almost like a healing space for me, right? A place to just like, you're home, and maybe I was at home locked down with my husband, and literally for months you're seeing one person, but there was this place you could go that was safe, and you could see all your friends, and you could Zoom parties, and you could do all of that. You could look into the lives and homes of other people and seeing what they're doing. You're learning all sorts of tips and tricks. things that you could do at home. Suddenly everybody is doing some sort of either DIY or some sort of craft project or exercise, there you go, or exercising or, you know, buying plants. And I have a friend who was propagating these little plants in jars. So I just found a beauty in that. A beauty in having a tool that allowed you to connect with your social group, your social network, and with the world. Really, we were having, you know, Zoom meetings with people all over the world. I was having meetings with clients in, you know, across Nigeria. So it was a beautiful tool that I was able to harness and use for good, both in my personal and professional life. It was always also a poison at times, and I alluded to that fact earlier. It was a poison. It was a tool that was also used to spread negativity and fear and anxiety and all of that. So again, it's about taking responsibility and making deliberate choices to say, well, actually, I'm only going to follow these sorts of pages. I'm only going to use my social media time to learn new skills or to, you know, check on a friend or, you know, get positive vibes. And I'm going to choose deliberately to weed out all the things that do not fit into this image of a life or a lifestyle that I want for myself. It's the same with design. It's the same when you walk into a space and you know, sort of assess what you want to achieve. You get rid of all the things that don't work with that plan and bring in the new beauty that does. So I've never really been a tech person, but definitely this last few months, I have used technology a lot more than I used to. I think I've approached it with a little bit less fear than I did. There was a little bit of fear and trepidation about all these tech and gadgets. Look at me now with like 2 screens and a tripod and all sorts of things going on. Like, it's like, what? But yeah, it's been an interesting experience.
No, I mean, I can definitely relate to that. I think that a lot of us have discovered our inner tech geeks, you know, during this time. And I also think that a lot of people have started doing, you know, DIY projects, as you said, trying to beautify their homes, adding plants, as you can see here in the back. Chef Fregene also said that he's been like buying a lot of plants. So I think for, you know, obviously, you know, notwithstanding, not for everyone, you know, we also have to recognize that, you know, we have to understand the privilege that we have to be having these kind of conversations from home and all of that. But it's also good to know that people have been, you know, unleashing their creative sides during this time. All right, so thank you for that, Omon. It's really nice to hear about your perspective on that. So over to you, Zubby. So I'd like to hear from you on this topic.
Okay, so similar to Chef Freg's, I would say one of the most important things for me has been, I guess, the exercise bit of things. Mm-hmm. So I've had to take as well eating quite seriously because, like you also mentioned, it's a sedentary lifestyle right now that we all have to live, I guess. So what that means now is that we don't burn as many calories as we previously used to. You know, we used to walk to the car and walk from the car to the office, you know.
Right.
So I guess we really don't have that anymore. So it's kind of, you should kind of make it compulsory where you put it into your daily schedule, where you get at least a few minutes of exercise. Like, it doesn't have to be like Chef Fregene said, like, you don't have to be like a Toby Bakary that's doing some insane stuff on social media. You can literally just pick up a skipping rope and skip for, 15, 20 minutes, you know. So I try as much as possible to do that every morning, and that makes a world of difference. Exactly. Another thing that I do that I think probably I'd rank number one, and the thing that's actually maintained my health, because for me, mental health is a very important thing, seeing as especially I talk to a lot of clients that may be in varying states of distress, you know, regarding whatever projects it is that they're doing. So mental health is, for me, something that's very important, because you have to absorb a lot of these negative emotions and just shake it off and then present back a solution to whatever problem it is that the client may have. So for me, the key thing has been meditation, right? So that's something I never really used to take seriously. So for me, it was always very airy-fairy. Like, what exactly is this? Like, it's so intangible, you know? But,
right.
And also like Omon said, there's tools for each and every one of these things. So in order to help me meditate, there was this tool that I keep on evangelizing to anyone who's willing to hear. So it's a tool called Headspace, right? Okay. So it's created by a monk. I think his name is Tom Podicombe. So he's actually studied he's a Buddhist monk that's been researching into meditation for about 10 years. So what he now brings to that app is the wealth of his experience. So there's literally a lesson or a course for every single a feeling or emotion that you may have that you're trying to get rid of, from anxiety to stress to even focus, So obviously, if you don't focus, if you don't exercise a lot, it tends to reduce your focus when you're working. So working from home and also meditating using that app has actually helped me to at least put a finger on the different emotional things that are going on in your mind, because these are the things that prevent you from focusing. And then bit by bit, get to understand what it is that's making you feel a certain way. So in some cases, you might actually not be feeling well, but you don't know it because there's a lot of distractions, whether it's from social media or from parents or from or for people that live in your house that are going through different things. And, so you don't really have enough time to actually listen to yourself and be aware of your emotions. But the moment you start to do that, it then kind of starts to unearth different things that you could then change by changing your diet, for instance, or by changing your living space, by buying some plants and then changing the decorum, the decor of your house, get like a new couch. And also one of the most important things as well is I got an ergonomic chair. So that's extremely important, So what that's done is that's actually increased my productivity a lot, because a lot of people don't realize when you sit down a lot and with a very bad posture, it kind of cramps it cramps your spine, and it gives you some certain nerve problems that could eventually become long-term. And these are things that even in my young age I'm starting to feel. So I found it very important that I spent a long time on I spent a long time on Jumia researching all these chairs, and then got a few, so.
Zubby, did you just plug in one of your people?
Not yet, but I'm going to.
I mean, it's allowed. Yeah. I think we also want to discuss, the kind of tools that people are using, the kind of discoveries that people have made. So feel free to plug in as many people as you like.
I think a discovery people are underrating in this time is Pinterest. Everybody needs to sit down on Pinterest. You can find anything on Pinterest. There are a lot of creative ideas because I'm on. Look, I've had to do a lot of DIY. So I had like these great ideas to do my house and ask people like her to come and change the place. COVID-19 was like, what? So I just by God, I wish I could show you guys, but if I try
show us.
Let's try. So if you guys can see behind me,
yes,
there's like a basket and a yucca. That thing probably didn't cost me up to 5,000 naira.
Yeah.
Wow.
You understand? So the painting or the photo hanging on the wall was a gift. The other painting there is a gift. The other two paintings are gifts. And these were things that were in storage. The ZZ plant that is hanging on it, all those things are gifts. And I just put them together, for example. And the thing, like I calm down in my space and it's, so if we can see like there's a painting on the wall, that didn't cost me a lot of money too either. So like it's, like Pinterest and my aunt actually, they made me see that you can just come and get ideas, be inspired, recipes, even for like getting creative for my work. Pinterest is such a tool. And I think I've started working on a Pinterest account because you take pictures, because Pinterest is about sharing ideas, and you may think like, oh, my idea doesn't count. No, package it well, put it on Pinterest. You'll be shocked who will pin it. And that's how you go viral on Pinterest and people will discover who you are and you can sell stuff. So yeah, Pinterest has been a very good mental, because I'm happy that everybody else said it, because I thought I was the only one. I literally started buying plants and they made me happy. My wife bought me plants for Father's Day. I got some more money, I bought some more plants. But the problem is nobody tells you that when you buy plants, you have to buy lots of pots. And that's nobody tells you have to buy lots of pots and you have to really tend and look after them. But that has also, let me tell you, anybody watching, buy a plant and look after it. It's the most therapeutic thing ever. You will learn so much from plants. Sorry, this is a random sermon now. But you learn a lot from plants. It will really help you in this digital time. I promise you. And let me tell you what it will do for you. you will learn to what to grow something. It will teach you so much. If a plant is dying, you want to do everything to save it. Like, and you actually feel like, I couldn't keep a plant alive. How dare I? Then I've seen like a new leaf sprout. It is the most magical thing in the world. Like, you just see it growing from this pale green, and it, falls out, and it's like really bright green, and it keeps growing. And when you tend to plants, like plants are like people, you make them happy, they'll be happy, they will blossom. So buy a plant today, it will really help your mental space.
No,
I'm serious. If I don't see a plant in your house, I don't know where you are.
Man, I bought one plant actually.
So what's your plant?
He has plant. I think he has a plant.
Yeah, I managed to get one, and actually did me a whole world of good. So definitely watch it. Remember to watch it every day. I'm making like a kind of like a ritual of doing it. Has actually put me in a very nice place. One thing especially that I'd say is probably better than getting a plant is getting a dog. So
I did.
That's more expensive than a plant.
You're an animal person, because not everybody's. I'm not.
Yeah.
No. Buy an animal is more expensive than a plant. I promise you guys.
And more needy as well.
Pets are extremely needy. You have to bathe them all the time. They poop where they are not meant to poop. Please. Pets, I have one. I love him. But plants are quiet divas. They're just there, water me and leave me alone.
You know, something that I really love, and I sort of thank social media in a way for that as well, is these conversations we're having about mental health. I'm hearing a lot more about mental health now. I'm hearing a lot more about wellness. And I love that we are, without trivializing it, we are less, I guess, cagey or stocked up about having those sort of conversations, because just hearing somebody else say that I've struggled with anxiety, I've struggled with depression, I've struggled with, all these things, just hearing somebody else say it, and you look at them and you think, but this guy is okay now. So, I mean, who am I to be ashamed or embarrassed or stigmatized by, being, this issue, which is a real and pressing issue in our society. So I really do love that we're having a lot more of those conversations. I love that social media is allowing us a platform to share. But what I love more importantly is that it is allowing us, or providing us, a platform to discover tools and coping mechanisms, right? So Chef Rex has told us about the beauty and the joys that you get from nurturing a plant, from seeing something, just grow and develop and bloom and blossom. And that sort of gives you life in a way. And I'm just really, really pleased about that. I'm pleased about the fact that we're having conversations. I'm pleased that we're sharing, that we're finding solutions. And I'm pleased that people are taking, I'm going to use that word again, responsibility again for controlling your environment, and for controlling your environment and controlling the way that your environment impacts your health as well. So it's pretty awesome.
No, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's so great that mental health is becoming something that people are openly discussing. And I think that because when you are kind of, isolated or in your own space, I think it comes to the forefront much more. And, as Zubby mentioned earlier, he's using an app called Headspace, to help with that.
I scribbled that down. I'm going to check it out for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of tools that you can use digitally, on social media. And, there's so many great accounts as well that you can follow that, that can serve as inspiration for you, that can give you motivation. So I think that you can actually create the kind of social media experience that you want to have. I think a lot of times people say social media can be a lot, and it can be a lot, but I think that if you try to create the kind of accounts that you want to follow, let's say you like food, let's say you like music, let's say you like inspirational quotes, follow the kind of people that inspire you. That's what I always say. And feel free to also unfollow the people that you feel like maybe give you anxiety or make you feel uncomfortable, or social media has all of these tools. Sorry. 1 second.
No, I want us to talk about the unfollowing people that you are.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna definitely get there. This conversation is a long one. But I also want to tell people that you can actually, there's settings on your social media whereby you can actually like detect, or you can actually like hide your stories from people that you feel like you don't necessarily want them to see your stuff. There's ways around this. So I just think that as much, we have to accept that social media and the digital world is here to stay. So we have to kind of understand that it's a form of currency, and also just, embrace it. But, also have your limits as to how you use it. Like, for example, for me, I log in and out of Instagram. Like, I'll log in, post, then I'll log out. And then I'll maybe log back in like once again during the day, because that's how like I manage various things. But Chef Freg, so let's talk about this. Since you want to go there so early in the conversation, let's talk about social media and, the cons of that and following people. And this is just kind of for everyone to kind of jump in on how you kind of try to maintain a balance, how you've tried to maintain a balance on social media.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate, not devil's advocate. I'm going to come from a point of view that, let's just say a table everybody is afraid to shake, and I will be the first to shake it. I think all of us, I think all of us, first of all, need to check our own selves first. Why is this person giving me anxiety? I'm most likely jealous. I'm most likely dealing with the small person who thinks this person is better than me. This person hasn't really communicated that they don't like me, or they think they are better than me. They're actually really just literally minding their business and going ahead. But because you feel threatened, you feel a certain way around by them, you don't even know when jealousy seeps in. You don't know when you're slightly prejudiced now towards the person. Is it only them? Why are they doing the most? What is their deal? Why is she always posting? Why is she always posting selfies? Who does she think she is? She thinks she's a beautiful, strong woman who wants to actually move her social media. She has dreams, she has goals, because she thinks that if she posts enough, maybe one day this thing will make sense, or it's already making sense and it needs to make more sense. How about that? You are like me, take me for example, there are chefs. The chef space is so competitive, and I want to be honest and vulnerable now. Sometimes it looks like this person, like anybody's industry, this person is hot and this person is maybe not hot. And you are here on social media, this is me, looking at somebody else when they've posted their hard work. Then me, Gbubemi, I want to now be salty. That who do they think they are? No, I need to check my own self first. I don't need to unfollow those people. But at the same time, maybe when I'm honest with myself, and I'm now talking for anybody that may be in this position, if you've identified that maybe you're dealing with jealousy that is giving you anxiety and making you slightly depressed, or you actually genuinely now feel a type way, like maybe you feel behind or you feel threatened or whatnot, it's okay to take a general break, all right? And separate yourself from the situation and go and deal with yourself first. Maybe you need to mute some people, maybe you need to mute those accounts that you are hating on, and let's call it a spade, you are hating on them. They didn't do you anything. You, my dear, are the hater. You, the one complaining. You, the one having mental health issue. You are the problem. Go and get the help. It's okay. See, my friend Titi Lokwe has one of my best lines in the whole world, somewhere close to the word of God. She said, rock bottom is a good place to be built. It's okay. Scatter yourself and just come back up and say, I have issues. Go and talk to somebody. Go and cleanse your mind. Go and meditate with Buddha, with this app. Do something. Get something done. Then you now emerge a phoenix back on social media to face your own front and genuinely now see those people and encourage and be happy for them. So that when you see them winning, you're like, they are winning. Amazing. It means that I can win too. They don't have two heads. So yeah, back to the drawing board. You start to see their wins as something to spur you on as opposed to something to pull you down. So sometimes when I see people saying, there's too much negativity on Instagram, and no dear, go and do it. Oh, she did surgery. Go and do your own surgery. Go and get your own body. Simple. Don't hate on her. She invested the money so that she can take fire pics and she can look good in a size, whatever dress, But if somebody, though, is genuinely malicious, is genuinely hateful, is genuinely somehow towards you, and you have tried to be nice, be cordial, to actually even talk about the situation, and the person has still consistently shown that they are not checking for you, oh, by all means, just unfollow there. There's no need to explain. Don't even mute, don't restrict, don't try and be cordial about it. Unfollow. The unfollow button is your right. Is your Instagram giving right. Mark Zuckerberg is not going to arrest you because of it. You unfollow them. Do you understand?
Right.
And if you feel like an account has become vulgar, for example, this social media influencer has started to miss the plot, you can also exit the building. The building is not your father's house. Your time is up, you can leave. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I think those are definitely valid points, like checking yourself and, just ensuring that you're also aware of your own, whatever it may be, triggers or whatnot. So I just want to just let our attendees know that you can start sending in questions to the chat.
Yay. I don't know what to say.
But Zubby and Omon, do you have anything to say? Just kind of.
Well, I do wanna add something to what Chef Rex has said. I completely agree. And we need to, look at ourselves first. Sometimes maybe we're the hitters, right? But something I would like to add, and it's still back on the topic of mental health. I think that just the same way we would understand ourselves in terms of triggers for allergies, food intolerances, for instance, and that I'm predisposed to this particular kind of illness, or I'm have a family history of diabetes, for instance, I'm not going to eat this sort of thing, or I'm lactose intolerant, I'm not going to, do blah, blah, blah. I think the same sort of thing when it comes to mental health or mental ill health. If you know that you're predisposed to certain kinds of behaviors, or you're struggling with certain issues, then it's okay to see those triggers as intolerances and cut them out while you're dealing, while you're coping, while you're introspecting and getting help and sorting those things out. Just knowing yourself and knowing what works for you and what doesn't. So I really do think it's okay to unfollow. And I think you shouldn't really owe anybody an apology if you're looking out for yourself, you're looking after yourself, do what works for your health, both physical and mental.
No, I mean, that's definitely a great point.
So just to follow up on that, on the awareness bit. So I think that's definitely the key thing. So you need to first of all figure out, if it's something that of which you are the source of the issue, or whether it's emanating from your mind, or whether it's actually something that's being pushed on you from others. I think it's a technique called noting, not to be kind of like a Buddhist monk here, but that's what it's actually called. So when you figure out what that actual emotion or thought is, I think just compartmentalizing it and just like labeling it kind of distances yourself away from it, and you're now able to, I guess, control that emotion as much as possible. But definitely when it comes to negative. A lot of negativity, because that's something that I guess I would assume a lot of us have a friend that at least maybe tends to relax a bit better when they let that negativity out on social media. So those sort of people, yes, I would definitely suggest you unfollow them, because it's not going to do you any good. In fact, a lot of these mental things we don't know, but they all compound and they all build up. And we won't really know until later on, maybe like a month later, so it's always worth nipping these things in the bud immediately you notice them.
Well, some people that provoke me, I see them as a challenge, actually. I see them as a challenge and a life lesson, and God is using somebody to teach me something. So, I might not so follow them. I might just figure out how to like you said, work on my own. Like, what is my issue that is making this a problem for me? Is it that I feel like this person has achieved something that I haven't, and I would like to? I'm not going to pretend like I'm some I've got it, also all sorted. But sometimes I see it as more of a challenge than an irritation, or I try to see it more as a challenge or a motivation. Let's put it that way.
Right.
No, the irritation quote was fine too. It was actually better.
No, and I also think, life is a duality, right? So I think, there's some things that are positive, other things that are not so positive. And it's just about, trying to be the best version of yourself each day. So thank you so much, guys, for those very candid opinions. I'm loving this Saturday afternoon conversation that we're having. Another thing that I wanted us to talk about was finances. Obviously, we've all seen, the pictures of the long queues at the banks as soon as the lockdown was eased, which is kind of, showing us that digital payment platforms and lifestyle platforms such as Sparkle are inevitable and are extremely important in this day and time, and also going forward. So I'd like to talk a little bit about, finances during this time. What are some of the tools that you guys have been able to use, to kind of plan for your finances? For me particularly, I know that I've been actually spending quite a bit of time on the Sparkle app, trying to like create different stashes, saving for my imaginary holiday that I don't know when I'm gonna go on.
Okay.
And all of those things. So I actually just want to go around and ask each panelist, what is your favorite Sparkle feature and why? And how have you used it in this pandemic, or I guess in this?
Can I go first?
Yes, you absolutely can go first.
Okay, so the thing I love about the Sparkle app is that I can send money to people without asking for their account numbers.
Right.
Because sometimes when it's a gift, I feel it can be a bit tacky to ask, okay, like I'm sending money to my Smolly or something. Like, I don't want to have to ask, what's your account number, to be able to spark joy, right? So there was the first time I used the app, I sent 5K to my brother in Abuja to buy credit for his phone, right? He doesn't need the 5K, he's richer than me. But I was like, dude, you've not called your sister in this. Is it credit that is due? Yeah, take 5K. But I just loved that you could do that. It could be like, you could surprise people, right? You could just send them a nice gift. And it made his day, because he was like, oh, that's so sweet, you thought about me. It made my day because I made him happy, so that made me happy. But I think if I had to ask your account number, and it would have sort of taken a little bit away from that surprise element. So I love that. And I just love that in general, it's super simple to use, because like I said before, I'm not a techie person. So anything that is complicated is really not for me. I love things that are simple and simply designed, etc. So for me, it's a no-brainer.
I love that. Zubby, I'm going to go to you next. What do you like about the Sparkle app?
So I think for me, it's twofold. So before this, I didn't really, I wasn't really using too many of these digital banking platforms. So as much as I'm a digital person and also like an early adopter, I'm also a very Igbo guy. So I don't like moving money around. Like moving money around unless I'm 100% sure like everything is okay, So so yeah, putting it in there was a breeze, So I received like the alerts immediately. I'd actually entered my account. I was immediately able to make some transactions and send some money for free, which was surprising. And I think the bills. So the bills for me was pretty good, because I think before that I'd used I won't mention the names, but I think I'd mentioned some people. I'd used some people and some toll fees. So let's say, for instance, I have the e-tag on my car, and it can be very embarrassing when you're stuck at that thing and there's people behind you, and someone has to come out and maybe help you pay or something like that. So that's actually happened to me once. And so after that, I swore to only use specific merchants to actually do that particular transaction, because it's very annoying. So Sparkle has been able to easily do those things. So paying those e-tag toll bills, paying, okay, I think Lele's NEPA took light. So yeah, paying those toll fees, paying my Swift internet bills, paying my EKDC bills, and all those different things. So I'm able to do that extremely easily, So just by the click of a button, I could save that beneficiary there. So it's just a tap of a button, So for me, that's been pretty useful. And also, I think there's a feature that is about to come out soon. So I think you can use, at least it's on it's on here, Sparkle. I think Sparkle Payments. At some point in time, you're going to be able to create dollar cards. So I don't know if
wouldn't he do it?
Yeah. So yeah, you'll be able to create like dollar cards. So I don't know if you guys make payments for, I don't know.
Like Apple Music and that kind of stuff.
Apple Music and all those sorts of things. Yeah. So exactly. So yeah. So they're not very friendly to Nigerian. Yeah, no, that's fine. So they're not very friendly to like Nigerian cards, for reasons that, for another Zoom call. But with this, you're able to easily convert at I think Aboki FX rates $2, and then make these payments with your dollar card. So I think that should be launching pretty soon. So yeah, with that, I'll probably get my Spotify account, because I haven't gotten that yet. Yeah.
Very nice.
Very cheap.
Very nice. Chef Fregs, what about you? What are your favorite Sparkle features?
I just like that with Sparkle you can. So me, I say I always want to track my money. Yeah. I have an idea, but Sparkle just gives you a real like glance graph that is very easy. Like you can actually like see what is quick analytics basically, or what's up, and you don't have to input the thing into an app and whatnot. And me, everybody, some of you have been saying, no, I'm not very techy. Me, tech, I'm like, life is tech and tech is life. I don't know what you guys are on about. Like the techier things are, the more excited I am. I'm always looking for a nicer or more automated way to do things. So I just like that with Sparkle, like Omon said, I haven't started sending money to anybody yet. We're still on send me your account level, but that's changed.
You want to test it and see if it works. Yeah, I'll let you know.
No, I know, but I don't know. But just in general, and I love what we're having, like all this really chilled conversation with Sparkle, right? Because all my friends are asking me what's Sparkle. I say, go and download the app first. Just go and download it first, because me, I just like that you can see, like, just at a glance, okay, credit is eating my money, what chops my money. In this season, it has been artwork. I've been begging Omon for that artwork. I've been begging her private DM. Do you understand? And we're still going to have a discussion. So, but yeah, and I can be a very planned buyer. So I think what is even going to help me in the future is one thing. Let me give you guys a tip for everybody watching. Like someone said, you may be looking at me, Chef Fregs. Chef Fregs, they are made, they are paid. Your pepper don't rest, whatever. Yeah, my pepper is growing. Pepper used to grow before it rests. So sometimes there are some things I can pick up like that, and there are some things I can't pick up like that. So, but I've told myself that you need to have the mindset that you can, do all things, okay? And what Sparkle is going to help me do, which is kind of what I do, I kind of do a contribution to myself towards something. So that way, when I'm working and I'm trying to negotiate a deal, that some people like Zubby bring my way, I'm going to, know that I have this goal that I need to do. And I'm not just thinking a little to in a myopic way. So it helps you like plan for stuff. So you can stash money, like Lehle said, for an imaginary holiday. Me, I have like, so somebody talking about new couch. I have new couch to do, your rent, your bills, everything. You can just do stash. So if you want, like me, there's something really expensive I want. I don't want to tell people what it is and how much it is. People may judge me. Who will count my money for me?
Tell us.
No. So what I'm doing is that I'm creating a stash, and I write things into like tens or tens, like in five. So 5, 10, 15. So I'm like, if something is like 100K, that's 10,000 naira 10 times. So one little gig comes, you put 10K, that's one. And before you know it, you're on 8. Before you know it, and there's some days you may have 30K to put there, you've crossed the mark. So that when the 100K is ready, you cannot walk into the store like a boss and say, please, I'll take one of those. But like you stash your way through. That's how sparklers roll, just saying.
That's how sparklers roll. I like that. I mean, for me, for sure, the stash aspect of it has been really great. I think Sparkle came into my life at a time where I really wanted to be more responsible with my finances and really understand like where my money was going. So even just during the COVID-19 period, I found that, if there was, a special person's birthday, I could maybe like create a stash for that and save for that, like from, the beginning of COVID to like whenever the birthday was, or like I said, for like a holiday, or even just like for school, for different things. And as Omon, as you mentioned, it's super cool that you can surprise people without having that awkward conversation of what's your account number or all of that. So I think it's really just a tool for people to just understand their spending habits better and just really have like a partner, like a digital partner, whereby you can just transact and also just plan for different things. So thanks guys so much for sharing that. We've gotten to the Q&A portion of today's chat. Okay, so we have a question here for Omon. Are there any particular interior designs that can help promote a positive mindset? Or maybe like some tips that you can share for people.
Tips to help promote a positive mindset.
Yeah,
the first thing to do with interior, yeah. So the first thing I would say is to declutter. That is the easiest, cheapest, most uplifting thing you can do for yourself in your home today. Like if you look around you, I'm pretty sure if you haven't decluttered recently, there's definitely stuff you can get rid of in your space. It does a couple things for you. So just the physical, having, like a clear space is great for your mind. It helps you, it clears out, it helps you think better and focus better. You're not distracted by loads of different bits and bobs about. If you declutter to gift to somebody else, it also helps with that, warm, fuzzy feeling that you get inside, like, oh, these shoes I haven't worn in a year, I probably won't. I'm going to give them to someone who it'll spark joy for somebody else, and that sort of does something for you as well. And then just the process of it, just the process of doing, of clearing out, can be very helpful for your, clearing out your mind as well. So that's what I would say when it comes to interiors. Decluttering is the first thing. I think other little, so it's not specific. A lot of people, when they think interior design, you think of adding to a space, you think of buying a chair or buying a sofa or whatever. For me, it's not that. It's about creating a feeling. It's about creating a mood, right? So to answer that question, it depends on what it is that you need. I think it's also very personal, what it is you need in your space to create the mood that you're trying to sort of conjure up, right? So whether it be better lighting, now better lighting could be brighter if you're in a workspace, or it could be dimmer if you're trying to sleep at night. Whether it be better ventilation or, purer air. It could also be just a color scheme, because I mean, so much research has gone into the effects of color on your mood, on your mental health, on your mental state, and all of that. And that's where I think that sort of color theory and that research has done a lot in the industry of, say, branding. We understand psychological or psychological effects of color better when it comes to branding, and that's why certain brands associate more with certain colors, because they're trying to project an image. But the same theories work in our physical space. So the color you've painted your bedroom or your dining room, etc., has an impact day in, day out on the way you feel. So it's just about making those deliberate choices to create the mood that is best and optimal for you. It's not one size fits all. It's not the same for everybody. Some people feel better in brighter spaces. Some people want something a bit more chilled. Some people respond better, calmed by having soft music in the background. Zubby mentioned Spotify earlier. I love Spotify because I have playlists that I sort of curated to make me feel upbeat, right? I've got pure playlists, with calm music that I play towards the evening that helps me sleep better at night. But the way interior design helps you integrate it into your home is by having, and when I say I don't love tech and I don't love gadgets, I don't love things that are just there for the sake of the thing, right? So I don't want one big speaker in the corner that just look at me, I'm a speaker. No, you're here to provide music. I don't need to see you. So the way interior design works for me is like, so, you know, we've got these little speakers that are, they just basically disappear, and you connect to your phone, and you get the vibe without having the big machine in your face. But some people like tech. I know there's some guys that just want to see their big, you know, big machines. If that, you know, so in terms of interior design, it's different for each person. Do what works for you.
Thank you for those tips. I think that's going to be helpful for a lot of people. So thanks for that. So Chef Fregs, there's a question here for you. So somebody called Enoch Matthew is asking, I want to ask how one can know the proper food to eat on a daily basis and how to create balance. For me, going to work from Monday to Friday, I hardly eat properly. I just want anything around, but there isn't any balanced nutrition around me. So what are your thoughts on that?
I will, first of all, you know, eating well is expensive. So I just hope, look, on any level, honestly speaking, whether you are really privileged or you don't really have a lot of choice, you know, depending on your budget, eating well is expensive. Let's first, you know, establish that. But it is necessary, because you don't want to go to the hospital, or you don't want to have, you know, issues later in life that so better giving that, you know, in things like that. But what I'll tell you is you need to start around what you are eating. So for example, if you enjoy just regular chicken and proteins, for example, try not to fry them. If you go to work from morning till night, from Monday to Friday, how can you create a budget for someone to maybe bring you a healthier meal now at work? There are so many brands and offerings, and this is what is happening. So you have maybe a big brand like So Fresh. So Fresh has done this model where you come and buy salads, parfaits, juices, smoothies, stuff to just help you eat better and put better nutrition in your body. Now, there's a smaller brand, I probably don't even know their name. They may be around you who has seen what So Fresh is doing and are probably copying or emulating or doing a spin-off of what they are doing. And that could probably be in your budget. Then also, I think once you educate yourself on the things that you are finding around, what's inside of it, what it's doing to your body, trust me, it will redirect your eyes to find what it's doing. So someone like me, I'm extremely busy. I actually don't make a lot of time for food. I know it's awkward, Chef Fregs. I know.
What an oxymoron.
So what I started doing was started meal prepping as well. Now, I know a lot of Nigerians may not have access to a lot of light and whatnot. So you have to find out what rocks your boat and what's going to work for you. So what started working for me, for example, was I started meal prepping. I would get in the kitchen and I would buy my things straight from Mile 12 Market to save money. So I would know that I want to make a big batch. I'll call Mile 12 Market woman up and I'm like, babe, you see, I need lettuce, kale, this, that. So maybe with 10K, I will buy like a batch to feed me for the whole week, or if not longer. And what I would do is, even when I don't even feel like blending everything, I would just wash everything and stick it in the freezer so that when I need to blend it, everything is already cold and I don't need ice. So I would make my smoothies into small cups from like leftover plastic. I don't throw away plastic, I recycle. So whatever small bits and bobs I can get, I just spin it and put it in the fridge. So when I'm going out in the morning, I have straws and I've just allowed the smoothie like defrost in the car, and I have my breakfast on the go. Then another thing I started doing was I kind of switched from rice to burger when I'm at home. I eat rice. Nobody should be scared. I don't discriminate against carbs. Carbs are amazing for you, but right, because I'm on a journey somewhere, I switched to burger while I eat at home. And what I do is I boil a big batch of burger. I put some in the freezer so that with my stew, with a fresh cucumber, I can quickly heat up a meal. And some days I actually carry it out in a cooler bag so that I have my breakfast and my lunch on the go. So for me, once I plan for 2 good meals in a day, I know that at least, even if I don't maybe get to eat dinner or something, I've put nutrition in my body, because one thing we don't want our bodies to do is there's intermittent fasting and there's starvation. You don't want your body to feel like you're starving it, because your body will just be like, yeah, you want to starve me, no problem. Yeah, is that a donut I see? Oh yeah, all the calories, hold on to it. So that's what your body does. So the body is a funny. So Enoch Matthew, I hope I've been able to help. I think you should just understand that finding anything around is not doing anything for your body. So you need to find the time. It's hard work. Find how you can meal prep and look for what is around you that can serve you better, as opposed to eating the next random thing around you.
Thank you very much for those health and food tips. I hope that answers your question. To the person who asked that, Enoch. Okay, so Zubby, we have a question here for you from Beyond Media. How do you, I mean, as you mentioned, Monospace is a company that was, has recently been incorporated, and you started a lot of activity, especially during the pandemic. So how do you keep a track of your employees' work and their productivity, especially with the working from home and all of that right now?
Okay, that's an amazing question, first of all. So that was one of my main sources of stress when the lockdown started, because it's a conversation for another day. But basically, one of the main reasons, I guess, why working from home is kind of frowned upon in Nigeria is because of a combination of external factors, I guess, that some people cannot necessarily control. So stuff like NEPA, stuff like your internet could go down, stuff like CBN can wake up one day and decide that, you can't spend more than $200 with your personal card, so all kinds of crazy stuff. But what we've tried to manage as much as possible, right, is a few things. Okay, so there's one particular thing, like employees or people that you maybe designate work to, they're a lot less receptive to like new software. So what we really try as much as possible is to reduce as many of our what we call our technology stack, to only include like a few key tools. So there's one called Trello. So Trello is a free software. So what that allows you to do is to create lists and create cards that you can assign to people. So once you assign these things to these people, you can even, within a particular card, you can create checklists. So a checklist could break down a particular task into different subtasks. And you could also assign like a start date and end dates and all these kind of things. So basically when something is approaching the deadline date, you'd receive a notification. So that basically helps manage, I guess, for instance, multiple tasks. So that for us is something that's kind of kept us really sane, because with marketing, you're not just doing one thing. You're doing like 10 things for clients. And if you have 5 clients, that means you're doing 50 things. If you have 10 clients, that means you're doing 100 different things. So that means there's so many different things that could, slip through the cracks, So that's also, so another thing that we've had to do, even before moving into Trello, is kind of revise our workflow, right? So before, and especially in most Nigerian companies, I guess people may not necessarily look at it from a task perspective. It's more from an availability perspective. Is he sitting down on his desk? Does he look busy? And that's when you feel stuff is going on. So the best way to, I guess, revamp and to change, I guess, the way you look at work is to break things down into tasks and assign those tasks. Are those tasks done? If those tasks are done, then the person is free to do whatever they want to do. If they're efficient enough to complete all those tasks in the morning, then you really shouldn't be blowing up their phone every single minute of the day. So that's how we've been able to do it. So basically, get the staff in that's able to work remotely, because like Lehle, you mentioned, I guess working remotely is a bit of a privilege, because there's a lot of, like I mentioned, the factors that I mentioned earlier on. A lot of times we take it for granted, but fast internet, you can have like a client that sends you like a 1 gigabyte file. If you can't download that, you're not going to have, you're not going to be able to work with that particular client, So have staff and also empower them. And so with us, for instance, we increased the salary slightly to also include money for data, So that's one thing you don't want people to be able to use as an excuse. You don't want to say, oh yeah, my internet finished as we were uploading that video to Facebook or something, So that's and that's where we've been able to. Fregs, who are you laughing?
I'm like, that's a nightmare. I'm like, gay pass.
Yeah, so like it happens all the time, you know.
Right.
So yeah, so that's a key thing. So Trello, and also of course Slack. So Slack is something that we use all the time.
I never really got a hang of it, to be honest.
I mean, so okay, so I guess the great thing about Slack is the ability to also create channels. So let's say you have maybe like, let's say 10 or 12 people on your team, and you have maybe 40 members working on a particular thing. You don't necessarily want to spam everybody with the same thing. So you create a channel for that conversation or that task or that project, and then invite certain people, and then everybody's talking, right? So it kind of replaces what previously was like the water cooler, where you go to the water cooler with your friends and you're there talking. You know, it's that proximity to each other that ideas are best shared and created, you know, and those kind of things that are lacking in a remote environment. So with Slack, we're able to then, you know, throw stuff on there. When somebody is online, it shows like a green bubble. So for some of our staff, especially the ones that maybe are not necessarily the best at hitting deadlines, I could easily say stuff like, okay, between 9 o'clock and 4:30, like I need your green light to be on Slack every time. I need to respond within 1 hour. You know, so these are internal service level agreements that you can have with your staff to pretty much make sure that that they're working. That being said, that's not going to solve everything, but at least that's going to help you at least reduce about, I don't know, 80% of lack of productivity from your workforce.
Right. Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for sharing that. I know that, you know, adjusting to working from home, you know, has actually caused a lot of challenges for some people. So thank you for sharing that. We have 2 more questions that I'd like us to answer, and then I'd like us to wrap up. And I want you guys to give a 1-minute, like very quick tip on how to live a sparkling life during and post the pandemic. But I'd like us to answer these last 2 questions that we have over here. So I'm guessing, so this is for you, Chef Reg. So this is from an anonymous attendee who says, my regular life has definitely changed. I spend more time inside, so I'm having to relook the way that I keep things within. I eat more at home and spend more time on the apps than I used to before. Thanks to the regular updates that we receive on the apps, which constantly improve on how to get things done for all of us. Also, the short videos on YouTube has helped. So as a guy in my house, how do I learn how to make quick and easy recipes? More exciting for me. So I guess essentially the question is, how does he, as a guy that's, I'm assuming is single, how does he learn to make quick and easy recipes?
Okay, so also, what I also short videos and make recipes, how does that make my house more exciting for me? Okay, look, Mr. Anon.
Anonymous.
You know, we're all old on this panel, so I think anybody 40, no, okay, no problem. Zubby, but you didn't catch yourself on time. But anyway, that is not the point. The point is, Mr. Anon, like I said, honestly speaking, become a plant daddy. Honestly, go and buy. You can look. There are plants. You can buy snake plants for 1,000 naira potted. I will recommend the snake plant. I will recommend if you have up to 5,000, a ZZ plant, and buy a pot for like 1K, making that 6,000. There are loads of really affordable indoor plants that are very, very, very easy to manage, and that will really do something for your mental. And snake plants are good, or called mother-in-law's tongue, because they purify the air in your home. Yeah. So get that. That's the first thing you should do. Now on YouTube, I know you're saying that you're already watching content. While you are waiting my own YouTube channel, I would strongly recommend that you watch a whole lot more of CCME, for example. You watch a whole lot more of who else? Jamie Oliver, if you want like Oyibo food. There's this other YouTuber, Sisi Jemima. Oh my God, she made this amazing okra the other day. Then also, you're in your own space. I think you can, I don't know if you're into art. I'm just going to share what I've been doing, and hopefully a tip will help you. Jakonde Lekki Art Market, honestly, go there. There's something for everybody. There's something that's
why I got that painting.
Yeah, I don't tell anybody, Omon,
it's awesome.
Are they currently open at the Lekki Jackani market?
I think they are.
Yeah.
So I need you to go there, and even if you don't buy anything, just go there and just
With a mask, guys, go with the face mask.
Of course, with your protective gear.
Are you allowed to move out of your house without face mask? Who's doing that?
We're just ensuring that everybody remembers that.
I think we walk through that market would give you, because I think we Omon, people will probably look at your. Funny enough, I've been following Omon's page. I didn't even know for the longest time. And sometimes you see some client space and you're like, hey, Mogwe, which day, God, when? And God, when in Jakonde market, go and buy a basket, put a plant in it, and your house will be looking Pinterest worthy. Learn something. I took a photography class that cost me about 10,000 naira. Was it even 5K? It was really inexpensive. Do you guys, and do you understand? Pick up photography, just try out like a new thing. And I think the photography is a new thing. Learn how to edit videos with like small editing apps, like InShot on your phone. Use apps like Mojo on your phone to try and create content, because content is key. I think you as a guy in your home, start using your own space to kind of generate some sort of content and just put it out there. You never know. So I think those are my top recommendations. And sorry, cooking wise, I know, stay locked on my page. There's a recipe I shot for a brand, and it is so delicious. Like, I did the recipe and I thought, yeah, it's going to taste good. And I ate it, I was like, what? So stay tuned. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So we have one.
Can I just add something? Then I just wanted to add something to the last question about
design space.
So Anon said something about making his house more exciting. Something that I would suggest, and it doesn't really matter how big your house is, really, right? So we've had the pleasure and the honor, I guess, of working on so many different projects of various sizes and scales, right? So we've got $1 million homes where you have gym is a whole project on its own, and then you've got the bedrooms, then the dressing room is something else, then the family, like within a home you can have like basically a little city, right? Everything that you need, but it doesn't have to be that. Your home could literally be a room, a studio space, and in that space you live, you work, you exercise, you meditate, you pray, you go to church, you do everything in that space. Something that I feel I find that can help is creating zones, and those zones don't have to be huge, right? Creating zones within a space. And this is the corner where I do my yoga. And, I pull out my little mats that I hide behind my bed when I'm not doing yoga. And this is where I do it. And, it's maybe close to windows, so I've got air and light and all of that. This is the corner where I pull out my laptop, and this is my office. This is where I work. And in that space, I've got a good chair with good, back support, good lighting. This is where I sleep. So what it does is, even if you're within the space, mentally you're switching from work zone, and when work is over, you shut the laptop down, you put away the little tripod you use for your Zoom, and then you move to your more relaxed area, and you sort of create spaces that you can feel as if you're moving from one to another, even within a space. And that sort of helps you sort of control the vibe or the energy in that zone. This is work zone, this is play zone, this is sleep zone. And I think that makes for a better, more sort of balanced lifestyle. Because otherwise you find that you wake up in the middle of the night, you're working, you're eating, you're working. It's time to bed, you're kind of watching TV, but also working at the same time. But I feel it's important for us to compartmentalize physically, but also psychologically, mentally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that addition, Omon. I think that's definitely something that's important. So thank you for that. So I'd like to go to the last question, and then we'll do the sparkle round, the 1-minute sparkle round that I spoke about earlier. Zubby, this question's for you from Oluwatosin Okedeyi. Says, hi Zubby, with a lot of fraudulent sellers on Instagram, how can a small business owner position his business online so his target customers can see that he is genuine? That's a very good question.
That's an amazing question. And to be honest, that's an issue that a lot of people are having now, especially now that everybody kind of has to have an online store now. So I think trust is kind of like one of the number one assets that a business can have right now. So I guess the exercise would be, how do you build your trust? So in order to build your trust, the number one thing that we usually do, at least at Monospace with our clients, is that we go through like a branding exercise, because it's hard to find, not say they don't exist, but it's hard to find a very fraudulent account that has very bad branding, because a lot of the, I guess, effort is spent on the scamming side of things as opposed to, the aesthetic side of things. So one of the best ways, get like a really nice logo, get really nice color scheme, spend time on your brand positioning. So basically talk about what your brand stands for. So, before you even start off like your brand, I really think that's one of the main things you need to focus on. What does your brand stand for? And then make sure your content kind of shows that. People can always see the efforts you put on your brand, and they can tell, okay, this person is really passionate about what it is that he's trying to sell. And that tends to eventually build trust, So aesthetic, the branding, your logo, all those different things. One thing that I didn't plug yet, but like as Chef Regs, as he mentioned, that I would, I was going to eventually plug something. So I think there's something called Abori Marketplace that I guess partnered with Michael Elegbeda and some other people to actually create like an online marketplace that shows food sellers. So, so food producers. Yeah. So yeah, Chef, I'm sure you've probably heard of it. Okay, great. So, so we actually created that with Michael. So what that helps people do is actually find out real and legitimate food producers and local producers within their area. So for instance, if I'm lucky to go there and click and basically place my location there, it shows me like some of the closest verified food producers are in my area. Currently just launched, so we're still yet to do some heavy marketing on it, but the whole plan is to actually get verified people in that particular marketplace, so people could then go there and then purchase things. So I'd also suggest you do similar. I'm not sure what it is that your brand is, but find some sort of marketplace that's ideally a kind of like a collaborative effort between a few people, and then list your products on there, and kind of ask your clients as much as possible to, especially clients that, ended up having like a very good that would have a good recommendation. Try and get them to leave reviews on some of your products, yeah. And not to say that any product that, or any merchant that has a lot of reviews is necessarily a legitimate reseller, So if you go, I guess, on Jumia, you might even find some that may be fraudulent, especially the very new ones. So the best thing is to actually look at the reviews. If you see like repetitive comments, like basically copy and paste, like, oh yeah, your products are amazing, thank you very much. Your products are amazing, thank you very much. Then there's a possibility that he actually used a bot to like leave those reviews. Yeah, those comments, but more likely than not, the reviews from actual people should show you that, yeah, this is a tested and trusted brand. So yes, so focus on your branding, join a legitimate marketplace where you can get verified, and what was the final thing? And you also work on your reviews and your comments. So ask your clients to actually leave positive ones.
Thank you, Zubby, for that very informative feedback and just tips on how to navigate, the online space, because it is a concern. Fraudulent practices are definitely out there. So thank you for that. I've really, really enjoyed this session this afternoon. It's been a refreshing conversation. We've talked about so many different things, how to manage your finances, mental health, digital tools, how to be healthy. So it was interesting. The other day I was speaking to someone, a friend of mine, and she was like, oh, Lehle, like, you seem to be sparkling through this crisis. Like, tell me how are things going for you? So I want everybody to kind of just go around, one very quick 30 seconds to 1 minute, and just give us like tips on how you think that people can sparkle through this crisis, regardless of the things that may be going on around them. So Omon, I'll start with you.
Okay, so I will say that aside from our basic needs as humans, say food, water, shelter, something that I totally agree with is that humans were social beings, right? We're made, designed to connect and to socialize and to share and bond and all of that. And being stuck at home or locked down has taken away some of that freedom. But I think something that I will say is, for us to sparkle, we need to socialize, we need to connect. So it's just making the best out of our situation and finding safe ways to continue to connect with people, and sort of share bounds of ideas, share experiences, and so on and so forth. Something else that is, I guess, a word that would be like my motto for the year. This is the year that I turned 40, yay. My motto for the year is freedom, because I find that for me, this is me now being my vulnerable moment, right, on air. Are we live? Yeah, so I find that I have, for a long time, limited myself, right? And limited the things that I've allowed myself to be or to do or to enjoy or to express. And for me, this has been the year, which is quite ironic. The year of lockdown is also the year of freedom. It's the year of, you know what, this life is short. Mm-hmm. You know, as long as it is short. It could be, tomorrow is not promised. And we've seen that firsthand. We've seen what ill health can do. We've seen what being, stuck indoors can do. We've seen what all the negative that could be, right? So why wait for tomorrow? Why wait to be free? Why wait to do up your home? Why wait to go, learn a new skill? Why wait to enjoy that meal that, you love, that your favorite dish? Why does it have to be only on Christmas Day? Why can't it be today? That sort of thing. So freedom from limitations, and a lot of those limitations we put on ourselves, right? Also freedom from convention. COVID-19 has forced us to do so much in ways that we never dreamed we could before, has stretched us in ways that we never imagined possible. So let's not wait for a pandemic. Let us, ginger our own selves, right? To be free and to explore and to discover that skill that you didn't realize you had, that talent or that capacity to love or to give or to share that you didn't know you had. So for me, it's about freedom from convention. It's about freedom from limiting beliefs. Just be, just live, just love, just be happy. Of course, we'll add the small print at the end, as long as you're not infringing on somebody else's freedom and you're not doing anything illegal or causing harm to anybody else. But I find that we limit ourselves in so many ways. So freedom is my watchword for the year. I think that, as well as all the negatives that this situation, this pandemic has brought, it's brought also so much beauty, so much joy as well. There are lots of startups springing up from nowhere, right? Because we're stuck at home, nothing to do. You're thinking about all these brilliant ideas that you wouldn't have if you were rushing to work early in the morning or rushing home or picking up kids. We have been given an opportunity and a blessing that I think we sort of owe to ourselves to make the most of. Take this time and bring forth a new business or a new way of doing your old business, a new idea, a new lifestyle, a new image. I shaved my head in lockdown. I was stressed out that day. And literally that act of shaving my head just freed me from that. Or which wig are we wearing today? What's the latest fashion? Like, is it Brazilian we're doing now? Is it like, please, just be free. Like, I'm shaving the head. I'm not good. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't have to be that dramatic, but I do feel that there's so much more that we can do and so much more that we can be as individuals and as businesses. I think we should allow ourselves.
Thank you so much, Omon, for that vulnerability. I feel like I was listening to a very beautiful poem. I think you said so many great things, honestly. And thank you for sharing that with us. And I think freedom is essentially the word, freedom. I've heard a saying, when someone cuts their hair, they're about to change their life. So I'm sure that about a new sense of freedom for you. So that's really nice to hear. So Chef Fregs, what about you? Like, how do you plan to sparkle through this year or through this?
Or how I've been sparkling. Honestly, I think it's kind of what I said before. I think it's very key for everybody to do a self-assessment, to check yourself first. I think we need to all and it's okay to prune yourself down, not beat yourself down. And there's a difference. Pruning yourself is cutting. Don't hang on to leaves on your tree that's not growing anymore. You need to cut it so that new things can come out, and it's okay to reset also. And when you have whatever anxiety, bouts of inadequacy that you may maybe even deal with, you need to go and check what is causing that. You may need to even cut some things at the roots so that you can bloom again, So I would say that I think it's okay for everybody to really do a deeper work on who they are and really check themselves, prune themselves, really work on their own lawn, not look at someone else's lawn and be like, oh my God, it's so green. The only problem with your lawn is that the bushes are overgrown. You just need to cut it. That's really, your grass is so healthy that new grass wants to come out, but the ones that are grown before, the new ones have pushed them out. So it looks like there's dead grass on top and it's bushy and it's all out of place. No, you just need to take out the trash, really. And it's okay for you to have trash sometimes because you're a human being, you're normal, it's okay. And when you take out the trash, you smell better, your environment will look better. So don't try to hold on to stuff that is not making you the best version of you, and you don't have a right to like, oh, this is me. Don't use that as an excuse, So I'm saying this thing because this is stuff that I've done for myself and it has worked. So y'all need to do it too.
Thank you very much for that, Chef Max. That's definitely, doing the inner work is really the beginning of everything. So thank you for that. Zubby, anything from you?
So I guess just kind of buttressing the points a little bit more. So I think just like Omon said, we're social animals. So I think the main thing really is to not necessarily change your lifestyle like completely, So we're always used to like speaking to a certain number of people on a weekly basis. So still find a way to, even if it's using technology, find a way to kind of maintain that human interaction and that social connection that you have with other people. So the way I do that, I have several apps that I use. There's one called House Party that I just got recently. So yeah, so basically there's like a bunch of us, and every so often, maybe like once a week or twice a week, about 6 of us, we just get that together and we play the games that are on there, and we spend like a good 4 or 5 hours, just talking and just discussing, So immediately after that, you just feel so different, So there's that. Another thing that we do, because I'm a bit of a nerd, so there's like a game called Call of Duty. So Call of Duty is like a free game that's on mobile. So even like my friends that don't play games, I kind of force them to download it. So what you could do there is that you could talk to people whilst you're kind of like, in some war zone and you're fighting some enemies and you're there talking and laughing. Oh yeah, look, they just shot him and stuff like that. So it's extremely social and you're there laughing and cracking so many jokes, So by the time you're done, you feel like you've actually seen these people, and you feel refreshed and those kind of things. So I guess in summary, it's just kind of maintain your sparkling tribe as much as you can, using the technology that you have. And also, I think one final thing as well, because I think this is something that I suffered a lot from, especially once the lockdown started, was from that phone anxiety, like your phone is beeping all the time and you feel like you always have to check it. And you checking it could be like, oh yeah, there's this thing that you need to, do in this place. And, I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, so because of that, you're always scared of looking at your phone. So the best thing is to, obviously, not to say that you can never obviously not pick up, let's say, your client's calls, for instance, but you need to sets kind of like boundaries for yourself, like mental boundaries, also professional boundaries, right? So any client that calls me after like 11 p.m. or something, there's no way on earth.
What are we discussing?
Yeah, no, because marketing.
6 p.m. I'm putting it out there. 6 p.m. Please don't call me.
Right?
Are we having night meeting? What's that?
What's that? Are they sharing money?
Yeah.
So some of us, yeah. So like, for instance, I'm not lucky enough to be able to, I guess, completely switch off after 6 o'clock because maybe something, maybe they may need awareness for like a 6 o'clock or like a 7 or 9 p.m. event. Or I mean, working with clients in India or something, So after some time,
like
I could
24/7 for you because it's like a digital company.
Yeah, And one thing that I realized with a lot of my clients, because a lot of them may be like marketing directors and stuff, they have that same problem. Because when you're moving, and now you have Zoom meetings, before you go to this bank and you travel in the car to another place, those in between actually give you time to unwind and all these things. But like, you don't do that anymore now. So now there's a meeting that finishes at 4:10, and you had the 4 o'clock meeting, you jump immediately into that, and you have to like catch up. And I have clients that do that all day. So at the end of the day,
Exhausting.
They're
sounds exhausting.
Yeah, it takes a huge toll, and like we never really used to talk about in Nigeria, mental health is actually extremely important. It's almost as important as like our regular health. So taking that very seriously.
I think it is actually a regular health survey.
That's important.
It is.
I think it is actually because it manifests in the physical as well.
Yeah,
exactly. And thank you very much. Yes, it manifests in the physical, and it's also contagious, because that's why a lot of people are now angry and they do all these things to make other people angry, and it doesn't help you, it doesn't help other people. It's a very selfish thing, so really just as much as possible, just taking care of yourself for the benefits of others,
Absolutely, definitely. Thank you so much, guys. This has been a really nice and refreshing conversation. So again, my name is Lehle Balde. I'm a media practitioner and a sparkler. I'd like to thank our panelist, Chef Fregs, who is a celebrity chef as well as a sparkler. We'd like to also thank Zubby Emodi, who is the CEO of Monospace. And last but definitely not least, Omon Anenih Mordi, who is the CEO of Blue Mahogany interior company. You guys better download the Sparkle app. It's gonna really change your life. So just check for Sparkle Lifestyle on your Apple Store or your Play Store and say hello to freedom. Guys, it's been a really, really amazing almost 2 hours. Time has really flown by, but you know what they say about time flying by when you're having fun. So thanks again, guys, and I look forward to catching up with you guys very soon. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me. Have a good weekend, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.